What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back with another video, and it's Monday. It's new time, and it's time for the mock draft Monday. I'm going to switch things up a little bit this week. Many of you have been asking for it. You want a SuperFlex video. We're going to do one here. If you're not in a SuperFlex league, totally fine. We're still just going to go over all the players a ton. But for those of you in SuperFlex leagues, you've been asking for a very long time, so let's do it. Full PPR, 12 teams. It was also said that I did a lot of early picks, so we're going to do like pick 11. In this one, which is going to hurt us, right? Because there's going to be a lot of quarterbacks. The high-end quarterbacks probably not going to get. I'll be curious to see what actually happens. So just to let everyone know, top 3 quarterbacks, I have 3 of the first 4 picks. I'm assuming we won't get them. I don't have like a ton of quarterbacks. I have 5 quarterbacks in the first round. A lot of people ask how many quarterbacks should go that early. I have 5 quarterbacks in the first round, and then a handful kind of in round 2. So we're not going through. It's not like one of them underdog drafts, and it's like quarterback. Because you can play other players in the Superflex spot, but you should be assuming every single week that you are putting a quarterback into that spot. So we'll go over all the strategies there. Would not call myself an expert in Superflex leagues or anything, but there's general strategies you kind of have. We will use composite ADPs. Unfortunately, they have not changed pre-draft rankings on these sites. I checked them. They're not accurate. But some people have asking for like do ESPN, NFL, Yahoo mock drafts. We will do those eventually. Hopefully Fantasy Pros can figure themselves out, set those as the pre-draft rankings. But like I'm not going on ESPN doing ESPN mock draft. Everyone's going to leave. I'm going to be drafting against a computer for ADPs. It's not going to make any sense. It's going to take 9 years. We can't do that. We will leave everything how it is. High for quarterback, very high for quarterbacks, very high for rookies, and we will start our drafts. Recording this on Saturday. I guess it's possible some things happen over the weekend for like injuries and stuff, but for the most part, we're just opening up in camp, so shouldn't be missing out on anything too much. So, first round, pretty much exactly how my rankings have it, at least for how many quarterbacks should be going. Allen, Mahomes, Hurts, and Burrow all off the board. We got Jefferson, Chase, Cup, and then we've got McCaffrey and Eckler, and then Kelsey also goes off the board. So that's beautiful. That's exactly how things should be going. We will hide the drafted players. And let's see. For running backs, I have Bijan over Saquon. I also have Jonathan Taylor over Saquon, just with that risk that Saquon's going to hold out. So those are 2 running backs we're looking at. I would say for this pick, I don't know that I would be going with one of those 2. Again, we're at the turn here, so we're pick 11. Just thinking about the ADP game, right? I actually do have them as like similar enough picks, so we're like, worst case scenario, I'd still be fine with one of them at the 202. But I don't think they're like amazing values. But I would say Bijan would be my favorite one if he's not first by ADP. Okay chance we get him. So we'll star Bijan. Usually we're not looking at quarterbacks this early, but we definitely are in this one. I actually have Lamar Jackson as the 4th quarterback. You guys will see the quarterback rankings on Wednesday. But I do have it Hurts, Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, and then Burrow. So Lamar, a good value here. I have Lamar ranked 10th. We're picking at 11, so a nice 1 spot of value. Tyreek Hill would be the top wide receiver, and then we would not be going with any 10 at this spot. So those are our 3 options here. Let's think through kind of what we could do with this pick. We're only going to have 2 picks go by. And so it's pretty likely, it's not guaranteed, but it's pretty likely we can get 2 of these players unless we draft one of them and then, unless we like draft Bijan and then both Tyreek Hill and Lamar come off the board. That would kind of just be unfortunate. The odds are we're going to get one of them. And if we're playing that sort of game, well, the odds are if we're looking at their ADPs, again, it's quote unquote, their ADPs are over here on the left. That's their pre-draft rankings. The odds are that if one was to go, Bijan's the most likely to go. So even if we don't have Bijan first in the rankings, it is very, very close if you look at the rankings. I should take Bijan, hope that, both of them are at the option, then we can pick between Tyreek Hill and Lamar Jackson, but the odds are one of them will be there, whereas if we go with, say, Lamar, well, there's a better chance that maybe Bijan and Tyreek Hill come off the board. So we will take Bijan Robinson at this spot, and then we will see what the computer did. The computer went Tyreek Hill and Stephon Diggs, a nice little wide receiver start. And so I just think sharp move here is to take our next player there. Take Lamar Jackson. I feel like we did kind of get 2 first rounders. I guess I did have Bijan at 13. It wasn't a crazy value. But I think, both those picks are very strong, right? Set our team up with our first running back. Now we have the option to go hero RB. Maybe there is, 4 or 5 rounds in a row where we don't like the value that's present at the running back position. And we can just wait, because if we went, Tyreek and Lamar, we kind of need that running back. We don't want to force ourselves into RB0. It's not something I'm super confident in. Totally fine with it if you wanted to go, especially in a Superflex league. If you wanted to go heavy at wide receiver, full PPR, Superflex, go for it. Again, our kind of criteria for doing RB0 is, can you start 4 wide receivers in this league we're simulating? As you can see, pulling up roster here, you cannot. 1, 2, well, I guess you could in the Superflex, but again, you should be assuming your Superflex spot is a quarterback most weeks. So after our pick, Fields, Herbert, Lawrence, Watson all come off the board. Good amount of wide receivers, kind of split wide receiver and running back. Lamb, Adams, Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Waddle, Devonta Smith. And then we've got a lot of running backs. Saquon, JT, Chubb, Henry, Jacobs, Pollard, Stevenson, and then Breece Hall. So the computer is not reaching. The computer is drafting pretty much by what ADPs are. Options for us. We can go with quarterback. I do have like Dak and Tua as the 2 top quarterbacks on the board. I would not call them amazing values. I have them at like 36, 37. We're at 35. So basically this is where they should be coming off the board. My gut says hold off. I have Olave at 28. We don't have a wide receiver yet. And I do think we're going to start to see that drop off at running back, right? We look at Olave here. Olave, T. Higgins, Keenan Allen, especially in a full PPR league, kind of right in there. Metcalf, little bit below them, Amari Cooper, Deebo Samuel, Calvin Ridley. So a good group of players there. But I don't want to miss out on wide receiver, both of these turn picks here, and then kind of be taking our first wide receivers. Like, I don't want like Christian Watson, Tyler Lockett to be our first wide receivers. I feel a little bit weak there. And I do think that, Chris Olave is a phenomenal talent, someone that I'm very confident in as my wide receiver 1. And I do like starts like this. Don't lock yourself into a box. We got our quarterback, our running back, our wide receiver. I just think that makes the most sense to do. And if no one else is a screaming value at this spot, like if Mark Andrews is here, maybe that'd be someone that we go after for 10M, but it's only TJ Hawkinson. I don't think he's an amazing value right now. So I think it makes sense to grab that there. I think the computer did a good pick as well. The computer went Dak and T. Higgins. So now they have 3 great wide receivers, Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, and T. Higgins. And they've got Dak going along with it. They are going with an RB0 start. Again, we have Bijan, Lamar Jackson, and Chris Olave. 4th round, we got to think about dangers with quarterback. Again, it's a super flex league, so you don't theoretically have to start that quarterback, but you want to, right? Pretty much any starting quarterback is going to outscore just like your flex option, like your next flex option. Like usually you have a really, really good flex player. They're going to be projected for like 15, 16 points. The worst quarterbacks are projected similarly to that. So if you have a starting quarterback, you're going to be playing them in Superflex, so you want to have options for that. So just looking at this, Tua, Daniel Jones, it's tough to say. Again, I'll do the quarterback video. I do kind of have Tua a little bit above them, but that also depends on, honestly, it depends on like turnovers with Daniel Jones, if you're going to get some extra fumbles in there. But I would say Tua and Daniel Jones are kind of in a little bit of a tier there. And then you've really just got like Kirk Cousins, Geno, Aaron Rodgers, mini drop off into like Goff, Wilson, Richardson, Stafford, Carr, and then a big drop off into Love, Kenny Pickett, Kyler Murray, Bryce Young. I don't want to be in that range with my next quarterback. I don't think that's going to happen though. I think if we were to pass here, it would be fine and we'd get one of this grouping. And I don't see a huge drop off in many of the players in this grouping. And so I'm thinking we wait one more, see about the late 5th round, see what's available there. So if we don't go there, I'm not sure I want to go Hawkinson. I don't think grabbing Hawkinson here gives us enough of an edge. I can pull up the rankings over here and see Hawkinson's at 55. We're at 38. So I don't think that's really going to help us a ton. Keenan Allen would definitely be the top wide receiver in a full PPR format. Keenan Allen, Keenan Allen right behind DK Metcalf. Neither one of them amazing value. So I do still have the quarterbacks ranked ahead of these players. So these would be the 2 in our consideration there. Again, I don't think we're going with Hawkinson. Running back, honestly, nothing screams out at me. I think a lot of these players are in a similar range. Najee, Mixon, Etienne, Gibbs, Aaron Jones. Maybe a tier break there, but with like Ken Walker, Sanders, I think we're fine. I think there's a lot of running backs here I'd be comfortable with at running back 2. So no running back. We'll cross that off, and no tight end. That's what we're choosing between. Keenan Allen, DK Metcalf, or do we just take the top quarterback? Top quarterback on the board, Daniel Jones, then Tua, then Kirk Cousins is what I have it. So maybe I just do that. Maybe I lock it up and don't risk losing out. Because we're also going to draft a third quarterback just to kind of have some flexibility. What's the bye week on Daniel Jones, by the way? That doesn't actually matter too much. But by week 13, it is the same one. See, I don't worry about that too much because that's week 13. That's a very, very long ways away. We could have injuries by that point. I could be starting different quarterbacks. I mean, I hope I'm not starting a different quarterback than Lamar, but I could be starting, the backup quarterback we end up taking over Daniel Jones. There could be someone we pick up off free agency, or you know what? We start a flex option, a super flex option that's not a quarterback, and it's not the end of the world for 1 week doing that. So don't worry about that too much. I think that's in my mind. I'm thinking about like Underdog being like, oh, I don't want to take my, 2 quarterbacks the same bye because I'm forced into a third. Anyways, this is a long way of saying we have the option between Keenan Allen, DK Metcalf, or one of these quarterbacks. So we just need to think in our mind in this next spot, which is more likely that we will see all those quarterbacks come off the board through and only have like Stafford and Carr left, or do we think a bunch of these wide receivers will come off the board and the top wide receiver will be like Christian Watson, Lockett, and Pittman, which is more likely to happen? If we pull up the draft board, I think teams will go with the 2, but one team already has 2 quarterbacks. I mean, quarterbacks are probably going to come off the board, right? I'm not sure. What do they have in the pre-draft rankings? If we pull it up over here, they have the wide receivers really just mixed in. They're right next to each other. Honestly, don't know. Let me know comment section. I feel like I don't do enough super flex leagues to fully know what I should be doing in this spot, but my gut is telling me to take the wide receiver. Take the wide receiver. One of these quarterbacks will probably be there, but we know one of these wide receivers will not be there at the next pick. That's what my gut's telling me. So we'll take the top wide receiver, and I believe we said before top wide receiver was DK Metcalf. It is. All right, let's do it. Let's take Metcalf. Let's see. Ooh, a lot came off, but I think we just got super lucky. So a ton of those quarterbacks went. Tua, Kirk, Daniel Jones, Aaron Rodgers, Richardson, all off the board. Wide receiver, we see Debo, Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Calvin Ridley, and Terry McLaurin. We see Hockenson and Kittle go, and running back, Etienne, Najee, Gibbs, Mixon, Aaron Jones, Ken Walker, Sanders, Pierce, literally always everyone we just said before. But who's still left is Geno. And I do know Geno kind of is in a tier above Jared Goff, Wilson, Stafford, but it really is like Smith, Goff, Wilson, Stafford, Derek Carr, and then kind of no one else. And Geno really is the top one here by like a good chunk. I think we got lucky kind of having him fall to us. I feel like it's just take it. Take Geno, say thank you. What they do after they took J.K. Dobbins and then they took Russell Wilson. I think that was a really good outcome for us. It's still going to Geno because I don't think the difference I have between Daniel Jones and Geno Smith, assuming -2 for turnovers, is 10 points over an entire season. Right, and the difference between DK Metcalf, let's see, DK Metcalf at 239 and top wide receiver, which would probably be Jerry Jeudy, or is it Drake London? Drake London? More than that. It's 20 points. So we kind of picked up 10 points of value if we're going to go top wide receiver and Drake London. Do we want to do that, though? We have the option to go with Cam Akers, which is definitely intriguing. Go Akers. We could theoretically add another quarterback. I don't think we should. I think you should kind of hold off. Take those top 2. We'll add another quarterback later that we like. Maybe we can add like a Ritter. Tannehill honestly would probably be a pretty good option. We can take a shot on like Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, see if they work out. A shot on Brock Purdy. But I wouldn't invest like too heavily in this third quarterback. So I'm not going to go with quarterback here. Akers, Drake London, or we go with a tight end. I don't think we need to go with tight end. Goddard, Pitts, Waller, all options, but I think we kind of wait on that. So who do we have ranked first? And then we can kind of look at our team. Rankings have it Drake London by a good amount, honestly. And I think I agree with that because of full PPR. Akers not expected to have a ton of receptions. And that's the benefit of really going with Bijan. right? Bijan has allowed us to say, okay, Bijan is our hero. Was it the short pick or did it just go really fast? Yeah, it just went really fast. Bijan's our hero in this one. We need Bijan to work out, have a ton of receptions, but I think he will. But running back is definitely on top of our mind right now. So I'm not going to list off all the names, but 1 trillion wide receivers coming off the board. Probably a good option, honestly, for us to take Drake London there. We see Goff, Stafford, and actually Bryce Young come off the board for quarterbacks. Waller, Dallas Goedert go off, so I believe Pitts will still be on the board for us. And only Dalvin Cook and Cam Akers at running back. So Pitts is still there. And I have Pitts actually ranked ahead of, again, depends on the format. They're actually like, they're separated by 0.7 in the list I'm looking at right now. But I like drafting Pitts more than I like drafting like Goddard and Kittle, just like where you can get them, and just like the upside for doing it. And so I think Pitts makes a lot of sense to take at this spot. For wide receivers, looking at like Burks, Dotson, Jordan Addison, who I don't think is going to face suspension. Yeah, he was going like 140 or something stupid. He didn't hurt anyone. He wasn't intoxicated. Like, I don't think anything's going to come of that. But those are the options there. Running back, it would really be Dave Montgomery, and we can honestly just hope Montgomery falls to us. It probably won't, but I think Pitts being the last tight end that can actually be like a true difference maker, I think that's the best way to go. And I think after that, I mean, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Montgomery's top. Montgomery's not even that far behind Akers. I think it makes sense to grab Montgomery here. I think that's a good start. So here's our roster. We filled out our starting roster right now. Lamar at quarterback, Bijan and Dave Montgomery at running back, Olave, Metcalf at wide receiver, Pitts at tight end. Our flex spot has Drake London, and our super flex spot has Geno Smith. All right, I like this. I like this start. So now we're looking at bench. Again, we're going to want one more quarterback because we don't want, it doesn't need to be a great one, but like I would prefer it's not like Zappy, right? Like I don't want that to happen. So we'll keep an eye on this, but it doesn't need to be someone super high end. We definitely have less draft capital at running back, but we know in the back of our minds, if we ever needed to fill super flex, it's going to be with a wide receiver. And the flex is also probably a wide receiver. So we're good spending more draft capital at wide receiver. And I feel confident in these two running backs. So I think we can kind of split. We can even still lean wide receiver late. And then since we drafted Pitts, we don't really need a backup tight end. And so this entire bench, 7 bench spots, 6 of them, I'll probably do one quarterback. I'll probably do one quarterback, 3 running back, 3 receiver. That's probably how I'll split it. But if there's not a running back we need, we don't need to do that. Looking at wide receiver. Here's the ones we like. Quentin Johnston, Elijah Moore, Nico Collins, Zay Flowers. Quentin Johnston would be the first one. We are at the mini turn here, so we can take that into account. We're only going to have 2 picks go by, so we're almost having like a back-to-back here. But yeah, if I could get Quentin Johnston and Zay Flowers, that would be really, really nice. At running back, Gibson is definitely top. Behind him, it would be like P. Ryan. It would be Khalil Herbert. We don't like Brian Robinson. We definitely don't like him in a full PPR format. I feel like in full PPR, like Herbert's not going to catch any passes. So actually, I'm probably going to cross him off. I just don't see any ceiling with Herbert in a full PPR format. That actually is Gibson, honestly, by like a decent margin. He has the most upside if they're going to use him in the screen game. I think that's just a pick. We invested less draft capital there. I think you take him. And then honestly, I think you take Quentin Johnston. And I know quarterback's kind of falling off here, but I want to wait. I want to wait and see what happens in the next one. I want to lock up Quentin Johnston. A lot went, but I think we're still good. So we took that pick there. Again, Gibson, Quentin Johnston are our 2 picks. Some defenses come off the board. Oh my goodness. But we see Jordan Love, Stroud, and Purdy off the board. I think at this point, we should be taking quarterback. This team has 2, so they're definitely at a risk to take another one there. Okay, so basically kind of split. I mean, Jamal Williams, P. Ryan, Damian Harris, Herbert, Brian Robinson, and Charbonnet come off the board. Decent amount of wide receivers, but not like too many go off there. Here's my thought. Tannehill just feels like by far the most trustworthy here. We know they're not going to replace him. We know he's the best quarterback they have there. Now that they have Hopkins, like it's just a really good situation for him to where like he's not going to outperform Lamar Jackson. He's probably not going to outperform Geno, but honestly, I could see a world where that happens. But he's someone that I trust. He's someone that, like, if I had to play him in the Superflex spot, I know he could go out there and have 275 and 3. I know he can do that. I just think it makes sense, again, lock him up. Take that pick. Would have loved if Elijah Moore did not come off the board at this next one, but they took Elijah Moore and Sky Moore, who two of the Moores that we really like, the models like and everything. But I think that makes sense. And then take Nico. Nico is just the highest upside among here. I mean, you could look at Dobbs. You could look at Rondale, but I think Nico makes the most sense for upside. At running back, honestly, Penny probably has by far the most upside, not in a full PPR format, which is the tough part. But yeah, Penny honestly, I would say Penny and A-Chain have the most upside among everyone left. We like Warren as well. We like Kendre Miller. We'll take Kenneth Gainwell as well. We love Tank Bigsby. This is a really late spot for Bigsby, Roshan Johnson, Jerome Ford. So decent options at the running back position, although many of them will come off the board very soon. Gallup would be fine. Osborne would be fine. Van Jefferson would be fine. What are other options? Mechie late. I don't know about there. Mingo. Hardman late. Tim Patrick. Okay. I think that I don't like Penny enough to take him here. I'm going to take Nico. I don't like Penny enough in a full PPR format to feel like I need to grab him. It looks like A-Chain also went off the board. It was McKinnon, Penny, A-Chain, Elijah Mitchell, and Devin Singletary. So I took Nico Collins at that spot. A few tight ends come off the board. Looks like Mac Jones and Jimmy Garoppolo go. A few defenses, and then a few of our wide receivers that we had clicked. 3 more spots. We've done our quarterback. We've done 2 wide receivers. So why don't we do 1 more wide receiver and 2 more running backs? Running backs I like. Tank Bigsby is probably by far my favorite. So why don't we lock Tank Bigsby up? And then wide receivers, I would say Van Jefferson. So we'll take Van, and then we'll just grab, did a billion running backs just come off the board? Yeah, geez. So in the 14-15 round, we saw Mostert, Zeke, Algier, Foreman, Kendre, Warren, Fournette, Gainwell, Patterson, Roshan, and Chuba Hubbard all come off the board. Then 4 wide receivers, a defense, Chig, Dalton, Ritter, Baker. All that comes off the board. 2 picks left. We'll take the highest upside running back we can find, and then we will probably take the New Orleans Saints defense. I asked you guys in the... Oh, that hasn't gone live yet. That goes live tomorrow when I'm recording this, yesterday in that video. I posed a question for Jerome Ford, so I'm very interested to see what the response was in that video to if you guys like Jerome Ford. My basic thought process was like, okay, he's probably the number 2, but is he Kareem Hunt? Is he someone that, like, if Chubb missed a month, they would feature Jerome Ford the way they'd feature Kareem Hunt? And I don't know the answer to that question. I'm really hoping we learn that over the summer. I do still think he probably is by far the best running back pick on the board here. Like, we could probably go with Spears. Other than that, I mean, no one has that much upside, so I guess I'll take Jerome Ford. But I'm interested to see if you guys think Jerome Ford has, like, significant upside this season, or if he's more just someone that's, like, probably an upform in the ADP, but probably not someone ever starting in redraft. And I want to know that answer, because if he's not someone ever starting in redraft, why take him late, right? This last pick should be for upside. Honestly, Michael Carter maybe gain a little bit of steam. Maybe Zamir White if they actually choose to use him. If there was a holdup, I don't think that'll even happen. Maybe you think Kareem Hunt can come back. Again, Spears, I actually think Spears probably has the most upside of anyone here. But yeah, I'm curious what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. So that is the Superflex draft. I'll read off the starting lineup again. We have got Lamar, Bijan, David Montgomery, Olave, Metcalf, Pitts, Drake London, Geno Smith in the Superflex spot, and then the Saints defense. And then our bench, Gibson, Quentin Johnston, Ryan Tannehill, Nico, Tank Bigsby, Van Jefferson, and Jerome Ford. I think it's a very, very solid team, right? We're not going to lose at quarterback. We've got Lamar, who I think is going to be awesome. Lamar could literally score the most fantasy points this season. Like, he could have another season like he had in his MVP campaign. Feel pretty confident in Geno Smith, surrounded with a ton of talent. And that was really kind of the thought process with these 3, is like, Lamar's got a ton of talent, and he's got a great situation. He's also super mobile. Geno, surrounded with a ton of talent. Tannehill, surrounded with more talent than we thought he was going to have this offseason. And then we're not really weak anywhere. We took that shot on Pitts for tight end, which is still like decent capital for tight end. And then we've got Bijan, we've got David Montgomery at running back. I think they can both be very good. And Olave, Metcalf, London, like that's a really good core for wide receivers. But also Quentin Johnston's a very high upside wide receiver. Nico could break out this season. Van Jefferson's going to be the number 2 on what could be a pretty decent offense. So I think it's a very, very strong team with very little holes. It's not one that has like, a significant upside in any one position. But I feel like this is a team where it's like pretty unlikely that even if you suffer an injury, you can kind of fill it. And so this feels like a very safe team and one that is just gonna finish decently this season. So that is it for Mock Draft Monday. No live stream tomorrow in Seattle right now. Wednesday will be the quarterback rankings video, and then Thursday, I don't know which one it's going to be yet, but that one is going to be the player breakdown video as per usual. So that's it for this one. Hope you all did enjoy. If you did, how about hitting the like button and how about subscribing to the channel if you're new here. Thanks for watching.